Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Explicitly Unbiased. I'm Caleb. Chris is with me once again. We're going to go over what's to come this weekend in NFL playoff action, the conference championship games, AFC, NFC, big stuff. Then we got what happened in the college football final. We have a champion, and then we'll go over, try to get through all the coaching hires and whatnot. Obviously, a lot of names have fallen, a lot of names to ink. So, yeah, let's go ahead, get this show on the road as I hit this intro. Chris is with me once again. We are 23 days away from the Daytona 500, but before we get there, we have to go over some football talks. But how are you on this fine Friday morning?
I'm doing all right, sir. How about yourself?
Obviously, my voice has gone through some things this week, but overall, you can't complain too much. Obviously, we're excited for next week when our big program gets on the road, but not to put these people through any more NASCAR talk than they want to.
That's right.
Let's start with the college football playoff because this is the oldest news. I think this is kind of ho humming it. I mean, as far as like the topics that we have on hand, nobody cares about the college football championship anymore. Like it's over. They're on to the next year. But Indiana beats Miami 27-21 for their first national championship, I believe, in school history. They take down the Hurricanes. Real sad to see the U is not back yet. Carson Beck in his last start in college football in 1932, 232, a touchdown and a pick. Mark Fletcher, 17 carries, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a 57-yard run. Mendoza, kind of pedestrian, 16 27, 186, but he had that awesome, I believe it was a touchdown run on like fourth down. He like trucked through somebody, like freaking crazy.
On Elway and helicoptered almost into the end zone. Not quite, but almost.
And leads Indiana to a perfect season, and they finish up on top of the world. So, yeah, you're a big college football guy, obviously. Indiana winning the national championship. Like, what does that mean to you, who's been a purist of this sport, living in Georgia your entire life? Like,
it's definitely different. You don't expect a team like Indiana, who's known for basketball, to be in the football conversation. But I think it just goes to show. So I think in a way it's good, but it also goes to show maybe the benefit of the NIL, allowing these players to play more, or quickly once they transfer, because it allows the teams to go out and find better quality starters, which is what Signetti says. He's like, I'm not looking to pay somebody, I just want performance. And with a coach like that, if he finds the right players, it obviously works. And not to say they're in a slouch of division either, right? They've got some pretty big, opponents in that division, or in that conference that they're in, I should say. So it was definitely, I think it's exciting to see a one-off champion every once in a while. It gets kind of old seeing the same champions, even as a Georgia fan, right? It gets kind of old for other fans.
Now that you were going to complain if you guys won every year, yeah.
No, I wouldn't have complained at all. But I know as another, an outside college football fan, it can be boring seeing the same team. So it's cool to see it, get switched up. It was a good game overall, though. I thought it was going to be more of a blowout at first, and then Miami kind of evened it back up. So I was happy with the game itself, and as a Georgia fan, I had some happy thoughts after it ended. So
certainly no pettiness involved around Carson Beck.
Not any at all.
Do you know the name of the woman that was shown on TV?
Are you allowed to? I actually don't.
Are you allowed to divulge that information?
No, I don't know that name, so I'll let you have that if you know it.
Arbella Danger, something like that. Something Danger. It's Danger if she shows up in your internet history as a married man. Just want to let you know that now. But yeah, talking about that NIL, and obviously a lot of a big conversation is like the college football playoff itself. 12 teams. A lot of people have a fighting chance in it. Obviously, Indiana did not benefit from this being what it is. Like the college, like they would have been in under the 4 team because they won Big Ten. They were the number 1 team after they beat Ohio State. They would have been in. What have they been in? No, if they did the old way, they probably wouldn't have been in. Well, maybe because they would have still had to beat Ohio State in the championship. Maybe they would have been here anyway. So, I would go as far to say Indiana was not like this wasn't a Mickey Mouse kind of run at it. They ultimately deserved the championship this year. But I think the playoffs are exciting. I do. I really like more teams having a shot at it. I like with the NIL. Obviously, there's some things I don't like about it. I don't like that guys can just hop from team to team to team to team to team.
Right.
No commitment whatsoever. Stick in college for 7 years. Appeal to the court to get a 7th year of eligibility. Like that's not my thing. But I do like that teams like Indiana can make a serious go at it and result in a championship. So I think that's neat. I think that's fun. I think this was a pretty good season for college football, all things considered. And hopefully we have just another good one next year. I don't have too much to add to it.
Good games throughout the year. I mean, you had the Indiana Penn State game where it came down to that toe drag touchdown for Indiana. I mean, there were multiple good games. Georgia, Tennessee that came down while we were at Bristol. We know multiple good games that happened, right?
Brian
So
yelling across the stands, "Oh, they missed the field goal!" Yeah,
just missed it. Woo! Yeah, no, it was a good year, like you said. I'm excited to see what happens. I hope that they maybe can make some adjustments to the NIL where it needs to be. I'm with you, right? Like 7 years of eligibility, that was unheard of 5, 10 years ago. You were done maybe after 5, and that's if you got redshirted. So I mean, very rarely was it 6. It had to be a massive injury for some, and even then, you would see some players just go on in the NFL and not even try it. So I mean, I think it's like you said, there's some changes that need to be made, but overall, we're in a good spot with college football heading into next season.
surely. All right, let's get into NFL football, shall we? We're not going to go over the 4 divisional games. We kind of missed the window on that. Sorry. Uh, what do you want me to do? We'll talk about it a little bit as we talk about the 4 teams that are in there, but ultimately we're going to be focusing on the matchup at hand. Let's start with the NFC. The Seahawks and the Rams, number 1 seed versus number 5 seed. The Seahawks blew out the Niners to get here. The Rams won a close one in overtime over the Bears last week. And now they played the night game. I know I'm going out of order, but if you've watched the show long enough, you know that I'm a Patriots guy. We'll save the Patriots thing for last. But yeah, Seahawks Rams here on Sunday night. The Rams, the Seahawks are 2.5-point favorites right now. Yeah, Sam Darnold, another big game, big moment. Everybody's kind of waiting for that other shoe to drop. The Rams have obviously been there, done that. Formidable foe, battle tested. Obviously, the Niners didn't put up much of a fight against them last Saturday, but yeah, NFC Championship on the line. All the marbles up there in Seattle. Should be a really good game. What's kind of your read on it?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's going to be a good game. We kind of saw this coming in a sense, right? These two teams meeting again in Seattle. I mean, Seattle showed what I thought they were going to. I thought it was going to be maybe a little closer game, but the 49ers are just decimated. It's hard to keep up when you don't have anybody left to play with, for that matter. So, I mean, that was expected. I was a little more shocked with the Bears game, but at the same time, I think the weather threw a wrench in the plan for some of the things that the Rams wanted to do, maybe. So it made it a better game. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really good game if the Rams can somehow find a way to compete with that Seahawks defense. That's going to be the big thing because there were times against Chicago that they didn't look good. And I feel like maybe the Seahawks defense is definitely a few steps ahead of the Bears. Not to say the Bears are bad, but I think
Ahead of
that
schedule,
that'll be the
surely.
big question. Yeah. I thought, though, what's interesting to watch, and maybe you have an opinion on this, I saw someone say this, it was yesterday actually, this game is bigger for Stafford because, A, he's playing for the MVP against Drake May. B, he's potentially playing for the Hall of Fame because if you consider it, he gets to the Super Bowl and wins, right? He needs to win the Super Bowl. He's then a 2-time Super Bowl champion, probably going to get an MVP unless, something goes awry with him and the team and Drake just runs away with it. So he could be potentially playing for a Hall of Fame position, right? There's a lot more to lose for Matt Stafford in a sense than there might be for Sam Darnold, but if Sam Darnold loses, it's going to be bad because everybody's expected it. We've all kind of been waiting on it.
Yeah, we're all waiting for that 4 interception game in the bright spot. And it could very well happen this week. I don't think so. I think Seattle's kind of a buzzsaw. I think Darnold's kind of gotten that choking dog out of him a little bit. Maybe the Niners kind of give him some false confidence and they go into this and get whacked. And who knows? But no, I totally agree. I think Stafford's playing with a little heavier stakes, a little more meat on the bone for this NFC Championship game. I think Stafford's got the MVP pretty much locked up, in my opinion. I don't know how you could give it to Drake if you weren't already thinking that way. I don't know who DraftKings thinks is going to win the MVP right now. It's probably a good way to gauge it.
Might not be a good question to ask a Patriots fan, but if Drake goes out, just puts the team on his back the next 2 games, you don't feel like that could change opinions?
No, because in theory, this is supposed to be
Season.
A regular season award. God, I can't find. I can't find. Maybe I have betting lines already closed for who's going to win the MVP.
Possible. I haven't looked because, again, as we've known before, I don't live in a legal state yet to gamble, sadly.
NFL MVP odds. Sports Illustrated. Yeah, Stafford is the favorite as of January 20th.
Yeah, so 3 days ago. That's pretty recent.
Yeah, so I think Stafford's got pretty much locked up. Again, he's going to win off legacy too. Drake May's going to be up there plenty of times in his career to go snatch one. Stafford is his last gasp, and he did it on like a season with 46-something touchdowns. Yeah. Something like that. Like, hard to debate. But no,
we touched on it too. Like last time, I think a bigger story too is that we didn't even know if Stafford was going to be with the Rams. There were trade rumors before the season started, injury rumors.
Retire because of the back injury, like.
So I think that's something to be noted too. So like you said, probably the legacy helps him wrap it up there, in that sense. So I could see that. But if he gets to the Super Bowl and wins it, he's more of a lock in that sense, probably for the Hall of Fame at that point.
Yeah, I think if he does that, he already has a better resume than maybe somebody like Eli Manning, who's up there. He's got one comparable to Ben Roethlisberger, maybe even better than Ben Roethlisberger because Big Ben didn't win MVP.
Right.
And I think everybody kind of thinks Big Ben's going to be maybe first ballot, definitely second. Like he'll have a better resume than a lot of guys who are like Kurt Warner.
Yeah,
I think. Does he have 2 MVPs or just one?
I think he's got 2, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, he's right there in that same range, 1 to 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to debate otherwise that Stafford is a he's definitely a Hall of Famer. Maybe I think this will just only make sure he gets in earlier, maybe first ballot.
That's what I was going to say. Probably locks him in more of a first ballot if he's able to get the MVP and win the Super Bowl too. But if he just wins the MVP, he's probably going to, I would say, maybe wait at least till the second, third year, depending on who his competition is.
He's got as much as Matt Ryan right now with a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan has an MVP. Stafford gets both and he gets another ring. I mean,
can't really complain. You can't really argue. The man deserves it.
He's pushing up the ranks. I'd probably put him in that. Probably like a B tier if we're putting all the Hall of Fame quarterbacks as A, B to mid B.
Yeah.
Like he's not Aaron Rodgers.
No.
He's not quite Drew Brees. He's obviously not Tom Brady, Mahomes, Manning, etc. But he's right there he's probably a step ahead of Eli if he does that. He's right there with Ben.
His biggest hangup if he can't win another Super Bowl will be the fact that I wouldn't say that he had to leave Detroit to be like successful playoff.
But he had to endure Detroit for 10 years of his career.
Yeah, exactly. The Detroit era will be something that hinders him if he doesn't win this Super Bowl.
Wasted all of his prime.
Yeah, wasted all of it.
All of it. So should be interesting. Who do you got? Who's gonna win?
I think the Seahawks, man. Like you said, they're a buzzsaw. I think they're gonna just overpower them. Stafford's got the veteran magic. We'll see, but ultimately, I think the Seahawks will come down to it and win.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think it's going to be a Darnold pick could decide it. A Puka Nakua drop could decide it.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be right there on the margins.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree with that.
And let's go to the AFC Championship game. The New England Patriots are heading to Denver to take on the Broncos, the number 1 versus the number 2. The Broncos are coming off of a 33-30 overtime win against the Bills. This did not come without some black magic voodoo that makes Belichick blush. Bo Nix breaks his ankle, second to last play of the game. His season's done. Former Patriot quarterback Jarrett Stidham will be the starter for the Broncos, making his first start in almost 3 years.
Yeah.
I think maybe even over 3 years. In the AFC Championship game against his former team, although brand new look, brand new head coach, brand new quarterback, New England Patriots, Micah Vrabel, Drake May, former coach Josh McDaniels. If anybody can give a good scouting report on Jarrett Stidham, it would be him. The Patriots are coming off of a 28-16 win against the Texans. The score can be a little misleading. CJ Stroud threw 4 interceptions. This game was very close for 3.5 quarters. And then the later fourth, the Patriots just kind of, finally pushed past the wall there. Obviously, hard to win when your quarterback throws 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
Patriots had a good amount of turnovers themselves, but CJ Stroud just made sure they weren't going to pay for it. Now they're headed up to Denver, a place where Tom Brady in the playoffs is 0-3.
Crazy.
Yeah, Denver, it's no place to play around. This is the early game. They're playing this on Sunday at 3:00. The Patriots are 4.5-point favorites. Obviously, this is skewed because of the Bo Nix injury. Yeah, I'll let you kind of lead off. I mean, what's your vibe?
I was excited after the game, like directly after the game, right before the news came out about Bo, because I thought that was going to make this game a little bit better. With if the Patriots were able to win, right, Broncos Patriots, that would be a really good game with 2 young quarterbacks, pretend like future MVP candidates, right? At least right now, some could speculate. So I was a little excited, and then like you said, just the black magic came out about him breaking his ankle. So I don't know what to expect. I think the favorite being the Patriots by a little is probably accurate there. I think it's going to probably be a Stidham era or error or something like that, right? Because I've seen plenty of people like Broncos fans that have some sort of blind confidence in him because.
I think it's because they have no choice.
Yeah, I think so, right? Their argument that I heard, or the most frequent was, well, Sean Payton re-signed him. He could have went and got any backup. Why did he not go get a new backup?
Patriots wanted him too.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of like maybe Sean Payton knows something we don't. I don't know. Sean Payton's one of the better play callers, I feel like, in at least my era of head coaches. So the things he schemed up with Drew Brees. So not to say it's impossible. I think it's going to be close, but I think like Mike Vrabel and the talent lost like their quarterback with Stidham is going to be too much for the Broncos.
Yeah, the Patriots shouldn't lose to backup quarterback.
No.
Like they shouldn't. Although if there was a team that had to play a backup quarterback and they were going to beat the Patriots, it'd be hard to find a team better suited to do the task than Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos. I mean, listen, you're walking into an offense that is coached by one of the greats. You're surrounded by talent, one of the best offensive lines in the league. Although that stat could be skewed because of Bo Nix's elite ability to avoid pressure, get the ball out quickly. Stidham's not going to be as quick. He's not going to read the field as quickly. He might take a couple more sacks than Bo Nix, and who knows what that turns into. But if you're going to have success with a backup quarterback, this is the team to do it. You have 2 really good running backs with RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins supposedly coming back this week, coming off of IR. He was limited in practice Wednesday, Thursday. I assume it'll be the same on Friday, and we'll see where it is, assuming he's going to be good to go. And that's going to be damaging for the Patriots because their run defense is kind of suspect. They played well against the Texans. They played well against the Chargers. But how much of that is because they have a terrible offensive line and the Broncos don't have that? Patriots are down Harold Landry on the edge. That's going to be a big loss. The not have somebody pairing up with Chase on the other side. But they should be getting wide receiver Matt Collins back from IR. And I know Matt Collins doesn't really impress anybody on paper, but he's a large target with strong hands. He catches a lot of those 50-50 balls for Drake May, just a reliable. Like I kind of describe him as like a Dollar General Jacoby Myers. Like he does everything he does, just a little worse, a little slower, but he's bigger and he's stronger, and he's gonna bail Drake out of situations anywhere he can. So that's gonna be big to get back, especially against the Broncos defense that has a secondary with somebody like Patrick Surtain, who's gonna lock down whatever receiver that he wants to pick.
Yeah. I mean, he reminds me of the as we've talked about before since I've started doing this with you. I hadn't kept up with the NFL much, but like he reminds me, watching Patrick Surtain, he reminds me a lot of Darrelle Revis. How, like you said, he can shut somebody down. Like you put your best on him, and he's non-existent at that point. So definitely, I could see why that would help Drake having somebody he can throw that ball up to.
Yeah, I mean, Booty's been awesome. Yeah, I mean, you saw that catch. Holy shit. LSU receivers just going nuts.
Yeah.
Diggs has obviously been super reliable. Getting Matt Collins back is only going to help that. Stevenson, Henderson, both healthy. Bradbury missed practice on Thursday with an illness of the center. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Now that I've kind of wasted all this time setting the table for you, the Patriots should win this game. They absolutely should. There's no reason they should lose to Jarrett Stidham. They're going to do everything they can to stop the run. First and foremost, make Jarrett Stidham beat you, and if he beats you, what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
What are you gonna do? Wouldn't be the first time the Patriots lost to a backup quarterback in a big spot. With Nick Foles, obviously back in the day.
He's been having his fun on Twitter trolling people.
I bet. You know, I flipped off his statue when I went into the link.
I don't blame you. I mean, you're a Patriots.
I went there for the college lacrosse championships back in 2023, and I had a box seat. And to get to the entrance of the box seats, you have to walk by that statue of him and Doug Peterson. Every time I walk by,
yep,
fuck you.
I used to work with a Patriots fan when that game was on. I remember watching it very well with him because he was an avid Patriots fan, and the frustration he had after that game was unbelievable. So I can completely understand.
I was in high school going through all the puberty and hormones, so
yeah,
my voice was cracking. What the
fuck? Oh man, I think you're right. The Patriots should win this game, and they're going to probably stop the run in order to do that. And then if Jarrett Stidham does come out and beat you, what can you do? I just, like you said, you touched on it. I think he's probably going to take at least a few more sacks. He's not going to get the ball out near as quick as Bo did. Plus, he don't have that mobility, right, that Bo had. You touched on that too. I think it's going to be Stidham's probably going to cost him the game, if I had to guess, right? That's going to be where the game gets lost, is the lack of having your starting.
I think the Patriots' just creativity on defense is going to throw him for a whirl. Like,
yeah,
if you've been watching the Patriots this postseason, like every commentator has talked about it, they send some wacky ass blitzes at you.
You got to do what you got to do, right? And I think you've got a good head coach, and he knows what to have in a defensive coordinator, or what he wants in a defensive staff, even for that matter. So I think that helps in that matter. When I was watching what I got to watch of that game, you could see it too, right? Like the different blitzes they send are crazy to see, even as like a fan, if you know what to look for anyway.
If not, the commentators kind of
they throw you the ball so you can smack it out of there.
So we both expect the Patriots to win. I'd probably say something like a 24-13 kind of game, just ugly, slug it out, and the Patriots go back to the Super Bowl.
Stidham pick six, but I don't know who else on the defense for the Broncos could do it, but he's going to throw a pick six.
Or on the Jones had one last week.
Yeah, there you go. So he'll throw a pick six, and the Patriots will win.
There you go. I will say my one big prediction on this: the opening kickoff, somebody's going to get laid the fuck out.
Oh yeah.
Like, just to
Absolutely.
set a tone, penalty or not penalty.
Wow.
Somebody's
That's
getting
taken
laid
off.
out. It's not necessarily the ball carrier, not necessarily the team that's recovering or whatever. Like, somebody's just gonna get rocked.
Yep.
And if it's a penalty, it's a penalty. Who cares? Like,
We're just gonna take it.
they've been chirping at each other all fucking week.
It's gonna be a physical game, which is what you want in an AFC championship game, I feel like. I think that's what's exciting, especially like I said, with the loss of having that Bo Nix effect for the Broncos. It's nice to hear the excitement still building. So the players are taking it upon themselves to build that.
I would just worry about like the Patriots trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
Like, don't get cute.
Yeah. Bulletin board material. That's not something that giving the Patriots any of has ever worked out for anybody.
That, but like, also don't feel like you have to like blow this team out.
Yeah.
Like, you just gotta win.
Just win.
Like, like I think of like the Michigan Ohio State game 2 years ago in 2024. When obviously this was post championship, Michigan kind of sucked.
Right.
And Ohio State like changed like how they played. They were a flashy, innovative, high flying offense, like did all this crazy shit. And then they said, "Fuck that! We're gonna beat Michigan at their own game, and we're gonna power run, get physical." And the Chargers, the Michigan's like, "Fuck you,"
Yeah.
and they won.
Yeah.
Don't play outside yourself.
Yep. Be what you know you can be successfully when it comes to something this big.
Whether you win by 1 or
Yep.
you win by 25, you're going to the freaking Super Bowl.
Exactly. You're going to the Super Bowl. They're not. They're going home. Doesn't matter how you win in that instance. Just clean up the mistakes for the Super Bowl. As a coach is going to tell them, right? Oh, it was an ugly win, but we won. We're going to the Super Bowl. I feel like, and can you imagine being a Tennessee fan? Vrabel going to the Super Bowl and his, like, come on. Like, that's just, it's so funny to me as someone who lives so close to Tennessee fans because the outrage of like anger towards their organization I hear. I'm like, I'm sorry, that just sucks. You had one of the best coaches in my opinion in the NFL. I couldn't believe they let him go when they did, but Patriots benefit from it and are now in the circumstance they're at with potentially going to the Super Bowl. So
we can talk about the Titans first and foremost. Actually, let's try to keep this in order. Obviously, there's been some coaching hires since we last talked. Let's start from the top of the board. The big fish, big kahuna, John Harbaugh. He's obviously fired from the Ravens. He's headed to the Giants. What's your thoughts?
I think it's a good hire. I was a big Harbaugh fan. I wanted him to come to Atlanta. I thought he would have been a good hire anywhere he went, though, honestly, because he's proven. I think he's got a good young quarterback. Depends on like the coordinator he brings. He's got a good young team there. He's got some blind spots that he needs, really big blind spots he needs to fill up on certain spots of that team. But he also got, from what I read, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he get control over the roster? So he kind of took that away from them.
Joe Shane is just a guy now.
Just a guy, basically. So that I think is going to help them because Hard Knocks made Joe Shane look like a big idiot, and he's done nothing to prove otherwise since then, in my opinion. I mean, he got Jackson Dart, and that's honestly probably
nothing to prove.
His job.
Great. Atlanta gets Stefanski.
I like the hire, like me and you kind of talked about. I think he was the second best coach on the market if you couldn't get a Harbaugh. Depending on the offensive staff, too, and we've said Atlanta's got the offensive stars there. So they went after a guy with an offensive kind of mindset in a sense. I think it's going to be interesting because he coached for the Browns and took the Browns to the playoffs for 2 years, and we know what type of organization that is. A lot of backlash coming from like Baker Mayfield, people like that towards him. So that's kind of interesting, just being on the outside looking in. So I like the hire overall. They kept Ulbrich as the defensive coordinator, which I was a big fan of when you mentioned it. I just like what he did with the defense. So I like the hire overall. We'll see what happens. I've heard rumors like Harbaugh could go get McDaniel for his offensive coordinator. I've heard Stefanski's talked to him. All these are rumors, nobody official, right? All fans speculating. So there's excitement building in Atlanta again around a head coach, and that's big for a fan base.
For sure. Jeff Hafley to the Dolphins. Obviously, he was a Boston College head coach, and then he was the defensive coordinator for the Packers. Obviously, the Packers go and hire John Eric Sullivan as the GM, also of the Packers. So Miami has a vision in place, and they're thinking about they have cheese on the head. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, looks like it for sure. I mean, you said it better last time we talked about it. That's a roster that needs help. Like two is leaving for a fresh start. Both your star receivers, one's coming back from major injury, the other one can barely stay healthy. There's definitely some glaring holes there. So I feel bad for whoever gets that job because taking that job is going to be work, right? Like him getting that job is going to be something where he can make himself a Hall of Fame coach if he's able to be successful, but he's got a lot of an uphill climb to get to that point. I think the Dolphins are probably at the low end of their conference, just above the Jets.
Who still have their head coach, by the way, Aaron Glenn.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Miami's a big market. That's why I think they get a lot of notoriety. They haven't had the results, like great results anyway, like they want in a while.
Speaking of Tennessee, Robert Saleh. So Mike Vrabel wasn't your man, but you bring in dollar store Mike Vrabel and Robert Saleh.
Yeah. Why, if you're Robert Saleh, do you take a job with another shit organization?
You're trading the Jets' toxicity for Tennessee apathy.
Exactly. Like it's no better in a sense, right? Like they're still this. They're two asses or two cheeks of the same ass, in my opinion. Like same organization. Like I heard Peyton Manning wanted to buy into the Tennessee organization a couple years ago, 5-10 years ago, when they had like a stake up for sale. That would have been great. I probably would have more faith in the Tennessee Titans organization if he'd done that. But
instead, you got Amy Adams drunk, just making a mess over every power struggle.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't.
Bad decision after bad decision.
It doesn't look good. I mean, and he's a defensive mind. You have a young quarterback. Wouldn't you want to? In my opinion, I feel like you'd want to build around the young quarterback you just spent the number one pick on. A lot of things just don't make sense, but it's Tennessee at this point, so I'm not surprised.
Jesse Minter went to the Ravens yesterday. Chargers D coordinator. They get somebody from the Harbaugh tree.
It's interesting. You let a Harbaugh go and go pull somebody from his brother's, coaching tree. Well, Lamar, I don't know a lot about him. Maybe you can fill me in. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So we'll see what happens there. I'm not as familiar with him. He's got a good team. Maybe his team will carry him for a little bit until he gets his feet under him as a head coach. So that'll be the thing to watch there. Or do they absolutely flop and he's out in 2 years or a year for that matter?
Sean McDermott was fired from Buffalo just after the divisional round. Obviously, he spent all afternoon bitching about the referees after the game. And then he bitched about the referees some more after that. And then they canned him, and the Bills go and have a mess of a press conference with Bean and the owner there. Just an absolute dumpster fire. Like, the Bills are back to being the Bills, and I love it. But yeah, McDermott's obviously now a top candidate if he wants to keep coaching.
Who did you go get? I mean, I've heard Tomlin said he's not coaching this year for sure, and arguably doesn't know about his coaching future. So it's not like you got a Mike Tomlin. You could go maybe talk to a Mike McCarthy if you wanted like that legacy coach. I mean, but otherwise, there's not really.
Pittsburgh seems to be headed that front.
Yeah, exactly. That seems to be off the table too. I think it was bad timing. I mean, like, there wasn't a better coach, in my opinion, at this point. Maybe the Bills know something we don't, or maybe they're back to just being the Bills, like you said.
They're back to just being the Bills because they openly talk about Keon Coleman while he's still on the roster, the wide receiver. And like, oh, yeah, that guy sucks, but that was like McDermott's guy. Like, McDermott picked him. It wasn't us. Keon Coleman is still on the roster, number one.
Still there.
Number two, they have a video of the GM doing like a documentary about the draft. And you can see him celebrating that he ran a slower 40 times so they could get him later.
That's insane.
Just to show you the freak show that's going on in Buffalo.
Yep, sounds like the Bills are back to being the Bills when I first started watching the NFL.
Good news.
Especially for you.
Good news. So that job's wide open. It's a really good job. You're working with one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but You got to work with those two psychos.
Yeah, yeah. Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen as a quarterback. I mean, that sucks. And I like James Cook. There's players on that roster that are fun to watch. So, like, you feel for them having to play for a crappy organization sometimes.
So some other stuff just to kind of clean up. Mike McDaniel accepted the Chargers job to be offensive coordinator, but he's going to interview for the Bills head coaching job today.
I can't blame him. I mean, like you said, it's Josh Allen. That would be a humongous leap ahead of what he had in Miami quarterback wise. He just needs to go get some weapons now to put around Josh Allen more so.
The Bills will also interview Jaguars offensive coordinator Grant Udinski. Again, if you look at him, he kind of looks like if Johnny Manziel listened to the angel on his shoulder. He's kind of got one of those faces. But yeah, if they want to do the whiz kid Sean McVay route, that's the way to do it. The Bills also interviewed Brian Daboll for the head coaching position, obviously. He was a big part of their success early on.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's got the link then, so that makes a little more sense. It's interesting because there's not a lot of high-profile coaches, right, that are left. Who do you go pull from college, though? It's not like you have a ton of college.
I heard Mario Cristobal.
I've heard that.
Could be
and then
something
I saw Freeman
for Pittsburgh.
from Notre Dame. I saw that one.
I've heard that too, but I don't buy that too much.
Yeah, I've not heard.
Obviously, other big coaching news: Brian Flores was extended by Minnesota to stay with the Vikings. So obviously, he didn't think he was going to get any of the coaching, the head coaching jobs that he was interviewed for, which is unfortunate. Yeah. But he'll stay in Minnesota and hold ground there as one of the top defensive units in football.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brian Flores not getting a job is unfortunate because I think he's a head coach in this league. It's just the nature of everything surrounding what's going on with him against the league too, probably, whether we want to believe it or not, is creating some sort of bias.
Eric Bieniemy is back with Kansas City.
That's something I like.
Coordinator. Obviously, Nagy's going to go somewhere.
I like Bieniemy being back for Patrick Mahomes. I think that's going to benefit him. Obviously, you got the ACL injury and things, how he rehabs, but I think that's a good fit. Get a running back, and the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, in my opinion.
So we talked about the Falcons. They have an OC. His name is Tommy Rees from Cleveland.
We'll see. I mean, I don't want to be discouraged because it's a Cleveland hire, right? You want to give them at least a little bit benefit of the doubt because they did coach in Cleveland. But I'm being very, very hesitant on that because he did coach in Cleveland and the results weren't wholly there the whole time.
The Cardinals do not have any second interviews in. They've just interviewed Clinton Kubiak, Thomas Brown, Matt Nagy, Raheem Morris, Vance Joseph, Mike LaFleur, Arthur Smith, and Chris Shula. So
everybody available that they can get to come in.
Good luck, Cardinals.
Yeah.
The Bills have interviewed Joe Brady, Anthony Lynn, Brian Daboll, Lou Anarumo, Grant Udinski, and Anthony Weaver. The Browns, obviously, a lot of people have withdrawn. Their second interviews go to Jim Schwartz, Grant Udinski, Nate Scheelhaas, and Todd Monken. I think Jim Schwartz is just going to get promoted to be the guy there.
Next guy to get cut after a year or two.
The Raiders have just one candidate with a second interview, and his name is Ejiro Evero, Panthers defensive coordinator. We'll see if they pull up anybody else. They should. Yeah. Any other big jobs? The Steelers. Brian Flores is still on this list, although I think that's kind of all done. Yeah. So it's going to be Anthony Weaver from Miami, or it's going to be Mike McCarthy. I'd probably lean say it's Mike McCarthy.
Probably, yeah.
So that's kind of your coaching roundup. Naturally, as soon as we end this recording, somebody will get hired.
Yeah.
I think it'll be. Let's make a prediction right now before we sign off. What is the next job hired and announced? What's the next thing announced?
Oof. Man, that's
as far as head coaching. I don't care about coordinators and whatnot.
Yeah, that's tough. I think
obviously you still have Arizona,
right.
Still have Cleveland, still have Vegas. Buffalo.
I feel like people are going to want that job in Buffalo more with Josh Allen. So that one, I don't know if it'll be today, so probably not the first one. I feel like maybe if you don't see someone today, actually, just take it that way. I'm going to go against you and say, don't see one today. You see the Bills hire tomorrow, and that'll be the first one.
I think Jim Schwartz will be promoted to the Browns head coach today.
That's seeable. I could see it. I mean, that's a name I haven't heard in a while for a head coaching position.
Although, if Buffalo really likes Mike McDaniel, they're not letting him leave.
No, they're going to throw the bank at him. I agree. I think if they really feel like he's the dude.
If that interview goes well, it'll be him.
Can you imagine going back to Miami as Mike McDaniel, the fun that would be?
Be a mess.
Yeah, Miami fans.
The NFL's a mess. That's why we enjoy it. All right. Well, shorter show today. I like it.
That's it.
We're back to our nature.
Yes.
Of doing short pit stuff.
That's right.
Well, obviously, we'll be back with more football stuff. Maybe next week. Maybe we'll hold out until Super Bowl week. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how we feel. We'll definitely be back with NASCAR next week. But either way, thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Everything NASCAR for everyone.
Yep.
4 and 1 are numbers. You know the shtick. The shtick.
You can find us.
You can find us anywhere. So, signing off. Have a great weekend.